Okay, so this is part 2 of the homework correction. These are the moves that we are gonna break down. So it's like 13 moves. I think I added some more, but that's fine. I just don't want to miss any. So let's start with the first one. Okay, how do I go full screen here? Okay, so the first trade we have, again, it would be the best if we started on daily. So on daily we have this wick taken out. This could look like something. This could look like a trap on H4. So we can go to H4 and check it out. Oh, what's happening? Oh yeah, here. Oh yeah. So why is it a trap? Well, again, it's something like a build-up trap. Like you see, this is the last pullback before the build-up or momentum trap. You can also see price mitigating really deeply. And then this is the last point of left order flow, right? Like this would be the next point for mitigation, which price didn't mitigate. So this is the last deeper pullback. And then we have this one, which is already detached from the previous lows. So this would be the main level. There was also a second solution. You could say that we're sweeping extreme of this H4 range, of course, only if you can explain why this low should hold, right? So for example, here we took extreme, like there's nothing left to really take. So that could be a reason for this low to hold. And then you would come up with a solution. Oh, we took out extreme and then we go. So we took out this extreme on H4. Obviously, price didn't really do anything. Price gave an F-boss up, but this F-boss was forming part of the sell move, right? So I don't want to count this as price behavior. And then we had this small break. The structure is insignificant. It's too small, so I don't count it. Since we did not have any big reversal pattern here on H1, H4. Okay, let's check H1. I would not see this low as a strong low, as a low that I would want to trade away from, right? On H1, we just have this break of structure. So we did not induce anything. We don't have any build-up or anything that breaks down. So it's just creating structure and breaking structure up. Nothing that big. So we stay on H4. This low was weak, meaning this low was created without liquidity. That's why it's a trap. The trap gets mitigated. The trap gives an F-boss to the upside. And then we stop all the lows here. So again, same thing as last time. This low was not really that significant. It didn't break structure. Like this is not important. Then this insignificant low was accompanied by this additional low, which had price behavior, right? So we created a more relevant significant low. We took it all out and we started a buy move. Interesting thing, if you analyze the continuations after this, you can also see we had a weak open gap, which funded this buy move, the upside. So yeah, let's go to the second one. So first thing we could see is on daily time frame, we just broke this high, right? But we said one thing, if we break structure on daily, it's not enough as a level because we want to avoid taking shorts and longs, right from the break. For example, here, we don't want to buy here, right? We want something to line up with that. So we have this as our main level, but we would want something aligned with that for a refinement. So here you see it's a nice, perfect three-touch trend line. It's built up, right? Same thing. We mitigated this deeply, and then we left this one out, right? So this is the last point of order flow, basically, which is a trap, also a build-up trap. So the main level for this sell was a build-up trap together with the high time frame breaker structure. So this could be the level. Then we go to H4 first. Then you can try H1. Okay, I don't know why left edge position. Okay, I'll delete this thing. So here we saw pretty much a trend line, then a trend line breakout, and a stop hunt that lines up with that build-up trap. So that's another move explained. Real simple. Let's see what happened after this. Nothing, price didn't rebalance, nothing. So this is another move that we want to break down. We can go to daily, but on H4, you can see clearly what's happening. This is the last structure that you can see, this bearish candle here, price mitigated, broke, mitigated, broke. So this is your ALQ, right? This low right here to the left. So the level is clearly an ALQ. And our pattern for reversal was this nice price behavior and a stop hunt right here. So we induced early buyers up, stop them out, that the stop hunt lines up with the level. Perfect trade. Then we had this one, which was not the best. It just took out the buy side liquidity here, but we are reacting to equal highs. So with equal highs, we said we want price behavior or we want something more significant, right? We don't want to trade directly from equal highs, equal lows. I'll just play the price action and see what happened. nothing really. Price exploded, right? Still, okay, so the equal highs did not do anything. Now we're reacting to another equal highs on daily, weekly. So let's see, this is how it looks. This is all the buy side liquidity inside this range that you can see. And the last thing we have is, some random supply on top, right? And we said supply can be a trap, doesn't have to be. So we'll decide based on liquidity. We do have a lot of liquidity, but only way for this high to hold is if we create enough liquidity with price behavior. So let's go. With H4. So price took this equal highs. We're still interacting with it, okay? Just because we set this doesn't mean that we are not reacting to the highs anymore. The only times it would get invalidated is when we react to something else, to a different level. But we are still, like, this is the only level in this whole range. So let's watch, let's see what happened. We had this build-up broke down, we had an FLOS and an inducement. So the level was equal highs, buy side liquidity, price behavior, and we have a really nice sell. We go to daily, let's see, there was nothing else. So let's stay on H4. Then we have this buy to sell, so there's nothing. You could also say that this could be an FPOS to the upside, but we don't have any clear level from the left. There's no big liquidity point. So we are creating some liquidity, but we need some level to line up with that. So the only level that I see is this weekly FEG fill. You can go to daily, and on daily you also have like daily FEG fill here. So let's change colors. Yeah, let me delete all this so you can see it. So weekly, this was the FEG. Daily was this one. So again, if we are creating some liquidity, it would be nice if we tapped into it. And yeah, so price did tap into the weekly. This could be technically a loss, right? Because you could say this is your price behavior for the buy from the daily FEG. But the problem with this is again that this price behavior, this FPOS to the upside, was part of the sell move, not from the buy move. So it could be a loss, but it could be easily avoidable. Then what happened? We had an FPOS up and a stop hunt down here into the weekly FEG. And now, if you look at this price behavior and compare it to this one, you can clearly see that this price behavior is not part of the sell move exclusively, right? That it could be just an FPOS up to induce buyers to sell, but this was straight up stop hunt to sell. And it's also like really early in the reversal. The main high is here, and we are just creating a second high, right? So this is how you could avoid it. This is how you can catch this buy. Really simple. And then you took out the main high. So this high could be a trap on daily. We gave a nice FPOS to the downside, stop hunt. So this is price behavior for entry, but it doesn't explain the future move that we are gonna get. And then if we go to daily, you realize that, yeah, this buy side liquidity is like a weekly level. It's a really huge level, right? We are sweeping highs of two different months. Let's go to weekly. Yeah, on weekly, it's even a PDC and equal high. So it's a weekly liquidity level. And of course, price behavior, if we want to swing from this weekly level, it should be ideally on daily or weekly, right? On H4, it's not going to swing the move, but it's going to give us, a possible short-term trade. But now we see price behavior on daily. So we have a breakout, an FPOS, an inducement into the level. And that's how you could explain this sell easily. So let's see the next move, which was this buy. So again, first thing you want to do, you just broke out of the high level range. First thing you want to do is go to a weekly level. I mean, weekly time frame. See what's there. On weekly, we see this ALQ. So first thing, some of you mark this rebalanced, but we said we want to use rebalance exclusively from the current leg. So this could be, but for me, it's not really valid. So mainly we are reacting from this liquidity, which is a really good point. Now let's go to daily. It's again weekly level. Daily price behavior would be perfect, but we did not have price behavior. Okay, so some people mark this one on H4, but you see this structure is really irrelevant in this price action. It doesn't do anything. It's too small. It's not even external structure. So for me, it's just a liquidity sweep for a sell. Then this would mean that our structure is this low, this high, this low, and this would be our breakout structure on daily. So we only had a breakout structure up, no price behavior, but we did compensate for it by going to the extreme on weekly or daily. So on weekly, you don't see much. On daily, you see this is the last wick that you can see. There is no lower internal liquidity point. On H4, it would also be extreme. So the last internal or the last external structural point, we stopped at one and we continued higher. So we did not have any price behavior. The level was ALQ and we bought because of BDC. So let's continue to the next one. Okay, so the next cell we have is right here. We took out this again, go to daily. We broke structure on high time frame. So what you want to do again, don't trade the sell, but you want to have a level from the left. In this case, you see this nice high resistance weekly level. Yeah. So we're reacting to this high resistance weekly liquidity. Again, it's wait, is it weekly? Oh, it's just weekly structure and daily high resistance. So the price behavior could be on H4, but if you look at this price action, you see there is no price behavior on H4. So yeah, let's continue to the next one. Here, this one was simple. You just go to H4 and you see it's a continuation buy. The first point I see is this ALQ on H4, which is perfect, which is enough, but you can also refine it. Every time you look at a level, you can refine it to the last structural point. You could use both. This would be more precise entry or more precise analysis. But for example, if price just bought from the H4 lows, it could be enough for a trade. But you can also do this. So we have ALQ on H1, H4, and then of course, just a simple build up. And okay, so you can just draw a trend line like this, it's enough. You can also draw it like this if you want to. And you have a body break. Okay, let's do this. And you have a body break to the downside. So we have momentum inducement, bullish candle, and that explains this buy. So let's go to the next one. Oh, there was nothing here. We're reacting to nothing, probably just a trap, right? So this doesn't help you. And then we had this sell right here. So this one came from a daily, weekly, high resistance liquidity. I would say it's weekly. Yeah, it's weekly. So it's a weekly high from the left. Then again, you would ideally want to see price behavior on daily, right? Or weekly. But let's start with H4. So on daily, you don't really see anything. On daily, you just see a break of structure down and that's it, right? And on H4, you also don't see anything. So price is just breaking up, taking the level, breaking down. So there is no high probable trade for the seller right here. I hope that's clear. The next one we had was an FEG fill for a buy, I think. So we go to daily, we see an FEG fill as our main level. Again, ideally, we would want to see some liquidity aligned with this. So you can go H1, that would be the lowest time frame I would go to. And we don't really see any clear liquidity point. So I would say that we don't have much liquidity for this trade. And then what we had was a bearish momentum inducement to the downside. So we had this build up, 1 to 3 touches, right? We had a body break, momentum down, sweeping, filling the FEG, and that explains this buy. But practically speaking, there is no liquidity here. There is minimum liquidity on this side. Any buy would be a riskier trade. Not impossible, but it would just be riskier. So let's continue. Okay, we're just breaking structure on high time frame again. Remember, we don't want to short this if we don't have any level from the left. Then we have a new reversal here. So let's let it play out first. Can go to daily to see if we did react to something. So what you can do is just mark a horizontal line like this and then go to the left and see. So we start with weekly. On weekly, we don't really see anything. The first thing I see is that this is a strong high. This was a liquidity sweep and it's clearly a strong high from the left, right? This is our current leg. This is previous leg. So the strong high from the left would be a trap. And except for that, we don't really see anything on weekly. So we can go to daily and see what price reacted to. And one thing I see is maybe this structure. But do you really think that this structure is capable of funding such a big move? And this far to the left also? Probably not. This structure also doesn't have any extra confluences. It's not a strong high. It's not ALQ. It's nothing. It's just a random structural point, right? So we definitely don't want to justify this move with this structure because that would also mean that we are going to short from all these structural points, right? But we don't. We want to wait for something clear. So this high is striking from nothing. If you look at price behavior, it's from a weekly trap, so daily would be ideal. Again, daily doesn't really do anything, right? It just breaks down. So I'd go to H4. And also on H4, there's nothing. Price just breaking down and down and down. So breaking up here and then just down again, nothing. No inducement, nothing. So it's a shit reversal. Then we had this build up. Some people saw this as an F was up, inducement down, which would be correct. So this could fund a little move from this ALQ. And then this short came from nothing also. So if you mark it here, you see that price not reacting to any specific level, right? It set this one and went down. But what is this high? Nothing. It's just a random high. So again, it would mean in live market that we are just reacting to nothing. We just wait this price out. The next move we have was here, was a major structural point on daily. So our main level is daily, daily structure point. Again, it's a break, so you would ideally want to see something that lines up with that. And in this case, I would see this little structure as the last pullback before the big explosion that broke the structure. So it would be some momentum liquidity, right? But this is the main level that we're looking for right now. Because we reacted to the trap and we created a weak high also, so it's weak because we reacted to nothing, we reversed with nothing. It would also mean that this could be an F-boss, and that, for example, from this day, we would be bullish and trade towards the weekly high. I mean, the weak high. So that's what happened. But this high specifically, I mean, this low specifically, did not have any price behavior, right? It was just move down, then down again, and then up. In live market, it was just a new stop hunt before explosion up. But we definitely don't want to use this as price behavior, for example, as again, this could still be part of the sell move. So that's this. Let's go to the last trade that we have, the last move that we have, which was the biggest trade of this quarter, previous quarter. Yeah, it's September. So this one. So we swept the weekly high. We set the weekly high here. So the price behavior could and should be on daily. And it was. So we gave an F-boss down, an inducement up, a stop hunt, right? This would justify the trade. So we have a relevant high lined up with a super sexy level. And for a trade, we would want to see price behavior or something on lower time frame. So here you see there's this nice, I don't know, this nice trend line. We broke that one. We broke it down. And also this little F-boss to the downside with a stop hunt that lines up with the liquidity level, with the trap, right? This is also FOMC, so you can just trade M1 and catch the short. But yeah, that's this trade, really simple. And I think that's all the moves that I wanted to break down. So I hope that it wasn't too long, but it's just 20 minutes. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow on the live Zoom call.